Hey review family, keep it tight. My name is Jay Morse, the review guy, reviewing music for the love of music, and I'm back again to bring you another video. And in this one I'm going to be covering the brand new City Morgue record entitled Toxic Boogaloo. Thrax, SosMula, ZillaKami, three of the biggest names in trap metal. Thrax I would say less so because producers in trap metal a lot of times don't get the recognition that they deserve, but definitely ZillaKami and SosMula have been making so many waves in the underground of trap metal and punk rap in this major wave of heavily distorted beats, really punk-laden aggression that recalls some very classic horrorcore and Memphis type rap, but just played in such an overly heavy way. I'll admit the biggest issue that I have had with this project as a whole and most of trap metal in general is definitely memorability. While tracks, albums, mixtapes, EPs do serve an aesthetic, do serve a vibe, a lot of times I find it difficult to go back to things for repeated listens just solely for how much they blend together and dynamics wise, how a lot of times nothing's implemented in a way that makes this track stand out from that track or this album stand out from that album. While City Morgue Volume 1 didn't necessarily wow me, I was really intrigued by the performances, and the album that they dropped in December of last year, which was City Morgue Volume 2, As Good as Dead, this was really showing them opening up their sound wide. Yes, it still had all the semblances that made them so unique in the first place in the trap metal landscape, but they were really exposing the fact that they could be dynamic, they could incorporate these melodic hooks and these really low, rumbling choruses. They've had so many influences going into their sound, whether it be punk, metal, trap, whatever, nu metal. I know that's a clear influence. And it really excited me for the future of this project. Yes, while I did like City Morgue Volume 2, and it's by far the best thing to come out of their canon up until this point, it still made me question how much they could push their sound in the future. Would the gimmick wear off? Would they be able to have a lasting power for an entire project in the future? I guess another issue I've always had with this project is because it has trouble being memorable. In many ways, I think sometimes the track listings can push too hard, but with Toxic Boogaloo here, it's only 18 minutes. Now, through these 10 tracks, I think, unfortunately, the duo is up to their old tricks in a bad way. The performances are still tight, there is nothing inherently wrong with this, but I feel like every bit of character development that they gave this project on their last record has been completely washed away for the same trap metal that they were drowning in on their first record. There's not nearly as many dynamics on this record, there's not nearly as many sticky parts that stick in my mind, worm their way in, and don't get out, and unfortunately, these just feel like short bursts of rage and aggression. ZillaKami still remains to be one of the best vocalist in this genre. I will stand by that, but even he sounds like he's not necessarily giving his absolute all that I've heard on the past. War Dog has been so much better than he is here. SosMula pretty much sounds the same, but he just sounds drunk half the time. The chemistry and contrast that has made this project so memorable in the past, if it wasn't for the songs, it was definitely the chemistry, the fact that they were the antithesis of each other and were able to play off that and leverage that with confidence. Toxic Boogaloo to me just seems like it is so much of so many of the issues that has bogged down this project ever since the start, but without any of the flair and any of the spice that when they burst onto the scene made you just go, wow, what is this? It was a bit jarring, it was surprising, it was flavorful. Because even though while Volume 1 wasn't the most diverse record that you would ever hear to come out of the genre, at least it was fresh, at least it felt like it had some breath in it. This feels watered down, and frankly the production is not nearly as punchy, and I think the beats are a lot more rudimentary than they ever have been on a City Morgue project. This feels less like two aggressive legends in this genre already ripping through track after track after track, and more of a very basic record made by two people that have a lot more in them musically than what they are presenting on this record. And even the tracks that would otherwise feel like they stand out for being different, specifically Yakuza, it is one of my favorite tracks on this record, it gets bogged down by the stereotypical skirts and the production that is so overly distorted for its own good that it sells short support the melodies and the harmonies that come through with the aggression. The fact that that bleeds through has always been something that has set them apart from just the bang your head and full throttle trap metal that is so widespread it's not even funny, both in the underground and the mainstream. Yeah, this is a forgettable project in my opinion. I think the performances are still there and the chemistry still is somewhat there, but I really am disappointed by this release and wanted to hear more from ZillaKami and SosMula, and I definitely think that they have more good projects in them in the future, but all of what they built up to on their last record is practically entirely lost here, and the value that that record presented, the replayability that that record presented, that was, in my opinion, a solid, I'd say 6.5 or a 7. This record for me is just everything that I have not liked about City Morgue in the past, and none of what I did like. I'm going to be giving this album a 4.5 out of 10. And that is a wrap. Have you heard this new City Morgue record, Toxic Boogaloo? If you have, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about it. I would love to discuss this record with you. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is. My name is Jay Morse, the Review Guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.